Sports and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
Start saving for your golden years with a Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, government says indicative referendum should decide final court, Golding's dual citizenship dilemma, and Montego Bay lockup incident leaves more questions than answers.
Also this evening, urban planner suggests infrastructural ways to mitigate the heat. In the business report, multi-destination tourism for the Caribbean. And in sports, Cavaliers celebrate third JPL title. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. I'm Stephen McHugh.
And I'm Curlin Brown. It's Monday, May 20, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. A bid to transition Jamaica into a republic is yet again tainted by political interests, as the government and the opposition butt heads on what should be the country's final appellate court.
Now, opposition leader Mark Golding says he will not sign off on the final report of the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, unless the government also agrees to replace the Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, in Trinidad. Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Monday responded. Natalia Clark reports.
Let the people decide. That's the position of Prime Minister Andrew Holness on the opposition People's National Party's insistence that the country's final appellate court should be the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, instead of the UK-based Privy Council.
Our position is that a final court should be a Jamaican final court. However, whatever ends up being the final court should go through this process of an indicative referendum. The people should have a say on it.
And if the vote is that the CCJ should be supreme, he says his government will accede to the will of the people. The Prime Minister, in his first direct address on the matter, says the government will not strong-arm any changes in the new constitution and will continue to pursue bipartisan recommendations.
What we don't want to do is to go to the situation in prescribing to the people of Jamaica.
So
this is what it is.
So you have a position, but it's not a hardline position.
No, our position is, first and foremost, let the people decide it. Right? What we would like to see is this, but really, the people should decide it. What the PNP is saying is, don't ask the people anything. Just go to the CCJ. Now, let's be fair. There are many people in Jamaica who have not expressed their view on the CCJ.
Correct.
And they are very silent about it because there is a view that is carried by persons who are authoritative in the society. But quietly, there are those who might be saying, you know what, let's think about it.
Explaining this is a fundamental issue, he cautions against acting without due process.
These are fundamental things, as the leader of the opposition said. And therefore, it can't be that because one political party has a particular view on it, then that is what we must do. It is unreasonable. Absolutely unreasonable.
Opposition leader Mark Golding has since shut down Holness's remarks as novel and foreign to the constitutional reform conversation.
Neither he nor his party has made those proposals as part of the process of constitutional reform. His proposals are therefore not in the report of the Constitutional Reform Committee and will not be in the new constitution coming out of that process.
He further challenges the Prime Minister's position to utilize an indicative referendum, arguing it goes against the existing constitution of Jamaica.
It seems that the Prime Minister wants to make up a rule which is not part of the constitutional laws of Jamaica to suit his party's political fortune at a time when it is waning.
But constitutional scholar Dr. Lloyd Barnett says that's not the case and an indicative referendum is not unconstitutional.
No, it's not unconstitutional because it's an attempt to find out what are the views of the people. And if a referendum is required in order to make a constitutional change, then you will have to have it in the way in which the Constitution defines our referendum should be held for the purposes of a constitutional change. But you are not prevented or prohibited from having an indicative referendum.
Natalia Clark, CVM News.
And the debate over the constitutional reform in Jamaica has taken a dramatic turn. The opposition leader has called for Jamaicans with non-Commonwealth citizenship to be allowed to hold political office, a stance that has sparked controversy. Critics accusing him of hypocrisy after he admitted Sunday to having British citizenship. Ramon Gordon has more on the unfolding story.
In favor of a phased approach to decolonization. We're not in favor of having 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the King's Yard. We must either be in or out. Can't be neither fish nor fowl.
That's opposition leader Mark Golding last week, after the opposition refused to approve the recently submitted report from the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC. Golding argued that the opposition could not support any move to a republic without a complete break from the UK-based Privy Council, which remains Jamaica's apex court. However, in a twist of irony, the opposition leader admitted early Monday to currently being a British citizen, with no stated intent to relinquish same.
The Jamaican people are becoming distrustful of the players involved in the process because you can't be telling me to get out of England and the King's Yard while quietly you are firmly in the King's Yard.
That's attorney and constitutional expert Shane Dalling. He's joined a public chorus condemning the opposition's seeming hypocrisy on the matter of reform. In an audio release today, Golding maintained his position is constitutional. However, the Prime Minister believes that stance is untenable.
To be the ultimate leader of a country, to be the ultimate executive leader of the country, you should have no other citizenship. There should be no question by your citizens that you lead, that you have somehow split loyalties.
The debate over whether Caribbean nationals with foreign citizenship should hold public office locally is not new. In 2008, Jamaica's then elections director Danville Walker resigned after the PNP challenged his appointment in court, arguing that his Jamaican American citizenship was disqualifying. That same year, Jamaica's Chief Justice ruled that MP Darrell Vaz was ineligible to sit in Parliament due to his U.S. citizenship, which he received, like Golding, from a parent. Other prominent figures have also faced controversy over dual citizenship, but some hold a different view on the matter. Assistant Government Lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Mona Damian Gordon, is not entirely opposed to a latest suggestion from the opposition leader, which would allow Jamaicans who are citizens of non-Commonwealth countries to run for political office.
If you are a dual citizen on the basis that your parents are born in the UK, obviously that is something that you have no control over. You're born in Jamaica, you have studied in Jamaica, you have worked in Jamaica, you have invested in Jamaica, and you have served in various other capacities in Jamaica. By all intents, you are a Jamaican citizen.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Now, in a significant shake-up, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced several changes to his administration effective tomorrow, May 21. Former Information Minister Robert Morgan will be reassigned to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, where he will take on responsibility for works. Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon will now oversee information, in addition to her current duties in skills and digital transformation. Meanwhile, Senator and former media man Abka Fitzhenley will be appointed as Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister says the changes aim to enhance the administration's efficiency and effectiveness.
And we're now joined by Sanjay Roden for a response to this breaking news. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Caroline. It is indeed interesting news. I believe that what we have to note is the change in information, because there has been cries from far and wide for a shift in that portfolio, really and truly, and we've seen very good work being done by Senator Maurice Dixon as it relates to clearing up some matters that there have been concerns about. And I believe that as that change comes to the fore, we should see better information, I hope, coming from the government, or even a change in that, because people have seen the work that Minister Morgan would have done, but some people would have still been asking for more, and I hope that we see that change coming in. Well, the works portfolio would have been empty, and it would be a shift and a new role for Minister Morgan to take on. He takes it in his strides and move that work forward.
With an election on the horizon, what's your thinking of where the Prime Minister head is right now? Hello? I
think the Prime Minister and the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party are in a space where they have to think about how it is they can actually communicate the achievements of the government, what the government has done in the time period, and that may be a reason for this change, because consistently we've seen in all the polls that there has been this concern, this great concern over information not being shared adequately, people not understanding some of the information, and if this change can affect that, I'm guessing that's where Prime Minister's head may be. 24, next year is 2025. It's already election season. We see it with the whole fiasco that's brewing in the constitutional reform. So this change is a hope to appease some people who think the communication apparatus of the government should be better, and also have some impact in ensuring that there is more information going out about the achievements of the government, whatever they are, and showing people how it is the government would be able to listen to them and make changes accordingly.
Thank you so much, political analyst and political commentator there, Sundry Roden. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
There's a better way to beat the heat at Courts. Get Select AC starting at $51,299 plus free installation for Select ACs. Buy Select ACs and get 20% off any living, dining and bedroom set over $99,999. Shop today and pay later on 6 to 48 months credit with Courts Ready Finance. Beat the heat with fans and ACs only from Courts, bringing value home. Offers good while stocks last.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best. You are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome. That's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way. The taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh fun. Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
Welcome back. A follow-up now to a shocking shooting incident at a St. James police lockup on the weekend. An officer disarmed by an inmate. 3 people wounded, 1 in critical condition. Indicom is investigating, but the details remain unclear. Ramon Gordon reports.
There are still more questions than answers following a shooting incident on Saturday at a lockup in St. James. Reports indicate that a police officer was disarmed by an inmate, who subsequently wounded the officer and another detainee. Indicom is investigating the matter, but acknowledges the details at present are unclear.
At the moment, the matter is still somewhat confusing and contradictory accounts and different accounts. And not all the people have been interviewed at this time. It's not been possible to get their full details details, so I don't want to go into specifics because they may change. But certainly 3 people were injured at Montego Bay Police Station. One of those was a police officer, and 2 of them were persons detained and in the lockup at Montego Bay Police Station.
The police officer and an inmate were treated and released following the incident. However, the third man remains in critical condition.
He remains in hospital, and we have to establish the exact nature of the injuries, which appear to be either a gunshot injury or stab wounds or blunt weapon injuries. So it's confusing at the moment. 1 person remains in hospital, 1 of the persons from the lockup. The police officer has been released from hospital, and so too has the other prisoner.
It's not clear whether that man was the aggressor or a victim of the May 18 attack.
Intercom went to the scene, has photographed the scene, taken the weapon allegedly involved in the incident. The police are also conducting a their separate investigation to also ascertain quite how a firearm was able to be accessed by seemingly one of the prisoners and discharged.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Also in St. James, a broken water main unleashed chaos in Montego Bay on Monday morning, flooding roads, houses and businesses. The deluge led to cars colliding, a swamped car mart and several people injured. Ronaldo Adams has the report.
A dramatic crash on the North Coast Highway near the Coral Gardens police station in Montego Bay, St. James, left 3 vehicles totaled and several people seriously injured on Monday morning. But thankfully, no lives were lost. The culprit, a broken water main that flooded roads, homes, and businesses, causing chaos. Traffic was at a standstill until mid-morning when part of the dual carriageway was converted to a single lane to restore a smooth, albeit slow, flow of vehicles. Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager at the National Water Commission, NWC, Delano Williams, expressed sympathy but assured that repairs were underway.
We are now carrying out repairs to a section of our transmission main, just about in the vicinity of the Coral Gardens police station in St. James. This work, as we see, will cause a number of impacts. One of them is the disruption in water supply, and secondly, it will force a traffic diversion, given that a section of the pipeline connects with the roadway.
Williams warned that disruptions will continue until early Tuesday morning.
Based on our initial assessment, we expect that the work will continue into tonight, perhaps early morning, and so our initial restoration time is within 24 hours. We're working assiduously to keep that at a minimum time in order to restore both the roadway and also the water supply. Areas between Salt Marsh, Wilshire, Greenwood, extending to Flankers, St. James, will currently be affected while the work is being carried out.
Ronaldo Adams, CVM News.
Meanwhile, in Kingston, flooding of the McGregor Gully has been a nuisance during the rainy periods. Concerned residents of Nannyville Gardens have decided to tackle that problem as this year's pre-Labor Day initiative, facilitated by Councillor for the Vineyard Town Division, Andrew Swaby. More from Trisha Gay Kelly.
Flooding, causing destruction. This is what Councillor for the Vineyard Town Division Andrew Swaby and residents are aiming to prevent with their pre-Labor Day project by building a retaining wall for a section of the McGregor Gully.
I deliberately chose to be more involved this year because of 2 reasons. Given that I'm the mayor, I have to be out in the broader Kingston St. Andrew, and also I am doing the cleanup in Nannyville in keeping with my commitment to get Kingston clean.
The mayor says persons often dump their garbage in a section of neighboring Mountain View, opting to ignore the no dumping sign. He notes the eyesore that's now created.
You have a no dumping sign right there, and persons still dumping things there. I'm encouraging the residents to make sure that they bag their garbage, and the garbage truck comes once a week and put it out. Most time the garbage truck comes on weekend where most residents are there.
By cleaning the dump sites, the mayor also hopes to create more space for vehicular parking. One resident hailed the project as timely.
The community will keep a meeting and come up with a project for Labor Day. The council asked us what we would like to do for Labor Day. So we eventually work out a plan that we think the gully would be the perfect area to build a retaining wall. So that's what we are trying to do today.
Councillor Swaby is urging residents to play their part in keeping their surroundings clean, as he acknowledges that passers-by also dump garbage there, creating health hazards in the space.
But I will say to the Danville residents, if you are not dumping it there, these persons will never come and dump it there. So we have to make sure we stop dump garbage here and to make sure that persons don't come and dump there.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
There have been numerous reactions to part one of our story out of northeastern St. Catherine, where a plot of land and the buildings on it disappeared after an old tree was cut down, according to residents. Well, the people say the response from their former political representative was discouraging, and now they wait to hear from those who've taken over. Unlike the suddenly with which a big gap seemed to have appeared and expanded gradually, swallowing an entire establishment in O'Mealy, residents close to the spot says Mother Nature has been giving warning signs since.
Yeah, one time when you hear one roll and we hear broop, it just busts and goes straight across up there and just show you where my go broke off. And every which part me mark, they broke off.
So any markings in it now?
No.
Well, to ensure mobility, the citizens say they gathered their own stones and posted caution cones. All right, so you just live up there, right?
Yeah,
What's your name?
Devon Gray.
Right where you're standing.
It was the road. Yeah, when road was good, when them coming from up there, bird speed. No,
they slow down.
Yeah, they got to.
With each passing year, the theories on what caused the earth to move has shifted from duppy stories to environmental issues, and so too the engineering possibilities. But it is actually a dangerous spot, isn't it?
A dangerous spot, because if you look closely, you can see when the rain falls, like the heavy rain is still eating away towards the building and towards the concrete, the asphalt road itself. It is eating away. So
the water is actually contributing, because when it rains, there's a big gush.
Yes, so it can arrange that the water can take channel properly.
Well, the development of the community is now in the hands of two female politicians who are no strangers. What has the new MP said?
Don't say anything about it, but I see some guys come here, come look on it. I don't know what they're really up to.
And we'll continue with regional and international news right after this.
Mr. Controversial.
Not really.
The controversial.
Not the honesty. Me not face it at all. I just love chat, bro. I'm just not for fast and people business, so. If a man go see me, I'll got my son and I shed my tear and want to look at me as weak. That's his problem, you know.
Team problem.
I ain't tell man none of my friend them to left the woman no time.
House can't escape from the tool.
You know why you buy the house? You never have told you what my father.
Yeah, you know.
You never have told you. KC bill for ghetto youths. I mean, like the culture of trying to help. Yeah, that made it think until Triple X come out. I say that's controversial.
The Cut is brought to you by Flow and Guinness.
If you save, pay, borrow, invest, or insure with NCB, now it's time to own a part of the NCB Financial Group Limited in its additional public offer. For as little as $6,500 in the general pool, you can own shares in the business built on strong performance and making life better for all Jamaicans. Invest in our future. Invest in your future. Offer opens May 6 and closes May 27. Apply for shares at goipo.jncb.com. Conditions apply.
Friendly reminder.
Welcome back. We now go to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Since 2017, there have been 10,000 reports of child sexual abuse. This statistic was reported by the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. More from TTT News.
During a session to sensitize local government councillors about child abuse and gender-based violence, Dr. Beverly Andrews, Deputy Technical Director of the National AIDS Coordinating Committee, shared some alarming statistics.
The Children's Authority would have reported that in 8 years there were 10,000 reports on just sexual abuse. That's just sexual abuse. How many of us know that there are different types of abuse? We all know that. Yeah, just sexual abuse, 10,000. The highest reports of abuse is between sexual abuse, physical abuse, and neglect.
Director of the Gender Affairs Division, Shelley-Ann Hart, said when it comes to reporting instances of violence and abuse, women and girls make the most reports.
Violence against men is underreported across the globe, inclusive in Trinidad and Tobago.
Tragedy struck Guyana on May 21, 2023. That night, a fire at the female dormitory of the Medea Secondary School in Region 8 led to the deaths of 20 children, 19 girls and one 5-year-old boy. Grief, anguish and hopelessness consumed the nation. More from Newsroom Guyana.
Adonijah Jerome, Andrea Roberts, Delisha Edwards, Ariana Edwards, Mary Dandrid, Marta Dandrid, Belnisa Evans, Sabrina John, Lorene Evans, Natalie Bellamine, Shirlene Bellamine, Bibi Jeffrey, Yolanda Carter, Romefia Edwin, Lisa Roberts, Nicolene Robinson, Cleoma Simon, Trisille Thomas, Sharana Daniels, and Larita Williams. Those 20 children died in what has now been infamously dubbed the Madhya tragedy. Last year, on May 21, a huge blaze engulfed this area right here. It was the female dormitory of the Madhya Secondary School in Region 8, and the fire engulfed the female dormitory, causing 19 children to die that night, 18 girls and one 5-year-old boy. Days later, another girl, Sharana Daniels, also passed away.
And in international news, the final report of the public inquiry into the UK's infected blood scandal will be published on Monday. More than 30,000 people were infected with HIV and hepatitis C from 1970 to 1991 by contaminated blood. The scandal has been called the biggest treatment disaster in NHS history. This report from the BBC.
It was known that blood transfusions could infect people with hepatitis as early as the 1970s, but those that are exposed, they weren't tested, even when a test became available, and minimal effort was made to identify those infected. Even now, we still have people coming forward in this country who have just been diagnosed decades after their infection, but often it's too late. You see, hepatitis attacks the liver, leading to cirrhosis and eventually cancer, so a late diagnosis often comes with a dire prognosis. The inquiry said that through blood transfusion treatment, up to 27,000 people were infected with hepatitis C, and between 80 and 100 got HIV. During the inquiry, we heard from children that grew up as orphans, mothers who buried their children, and husbands who unknowingly passed infections onto their wives. Victims said they were ignored by doctors, and they said they were treated as dirty or second-class citizens by the NHS. Victims and their families have waited 40 years for justice. The focus now is on compensation.
And that's it for regional and international news.
Stay tuned to CVM News at 7. More to come after the break.
this you don't want to miss. So Jamil Foster is here.
When me I go through my dark times and I see where the music inspire me so much, I feel confident in myself and pick myself up and keep moving and not giving up.
Yeah.
When I see the power